This is more than just an affair. This is something that has been building for years. You have to think about it. The corruption of this, the head of a billion-dollar company, has the HR department in his back pocket.
So who handles it when HR is part of the problem?
What's going on with Kristen? What's going on with Kristen? Well, we finally do have an update.
The moment we have all been waiting for.
17 seconds. That's all it took for an entire life to flip upside down. One moment, Andy Byron was the polished, untouchable CEO of a billion-dollar tech company, sipping champagne in a VIP stadium seat. The next, his face was plastered across millions of phone screens, dissected frame by frame like the Zapruder film of corporate scandals. We're talking full-blown internet autopsy, freeze frames, zoom-ins, slow-motion replays, and comment sections stacked with theories so detailed you'd think they were prepping for a criminal trial.
It's a cold day at the Coldplay concert. CEO or ex-CEO of Astronomer, Andy Byron, gets caught on camera. The whole world has seen it with the head of HR of the corporation, and now he's out of a job. Divorce, lawsuits, hostile work environment. A lot of things are going to open up about this. Pretty sure he was making approximately $500,000 a year. Net worth over the last 4 years was about $2 million. This doesn't even include what his net worth was prior to that. Divorce is going to be coming down the pike for him, lost his job. God only knows what's going to happen from this point on.
It happened in the middle of Coldplay's sold-out Gillette Stadium show. Hearts drifting through the air, Chris Martin floating across the stage like a man who's never caused drama in his life. Until that night. The kiss cam was bouncing from couple to couple, drawing cheers and laughter, until it landed on two people who clearly weren't expecting it. Andy froze like a deer in headlights. Kristen Kit, Astronomer's chief people officer, turned away ever so slightly, just enough to spark 1,000 "what's going on here" reactions in the crowd.
Executive Andy Byron has tendered his resignation to the board of directors and they have accepted. The board will begin a search for our next chief executive as co-founder and chief product officer Pete DeJoy continues to serve as interim.
While Chris Martin was floating hearts into the sky at Gillette Stadium,
then came the line. Chris Martin's voice, casual but loaded with just enough bite to make every ear in the stadium perk up. Either they're having an affair or they're just very shy. In that instant, 65,000 people laughed. But outside that stadium, millions more would see the clip. And not everyone was laughing. For Andy Byron, those words weren't just a joke. They were the match to a reputation that had been carefully built over decades.
That now infamous Coldplay kiss cam were first identified on a TikTok account of someone who apparently works at the company. Oh my God, that looks like Astronomer CEO Andy Byron and Astronomer Chief People Officer Kristen Kit. That's going to be one awkward board meeting, if not a couple.
The internet pounced. Within hours, TikTok detectives had identified both faces. A viral post titled, "I think that's my boss," clocked millions of views overnight. LinkedIn profiles got pulled. Screenshots of corporate bios started circulating like trading cards. And then the nickname dropped, the ethics CEO. A nod to Andy's long-standing image as the guy who preached about corporate trust, leadership values, and integrity at every conference that would hand him a microphone. Now that nickname was being used with a smirk.
The way that this man embarrassed his wife so publicly, he should be ashamed and put in jail and put this other one in jail.
You have to understand, this wasn't just a random executive caught on camera. This was the guy who had built his public identity on doing things the right way. And now, here he was, sharing an awkward VIP moment with the very person responsible for employee relations at his company. It wasn't just gossip fuel. It was a ready-made scandal with the perfect mix of mystery, corporate intrigue, and celebrity proximity. And in 2025, that's the kind of cocktail the internet doesn't sip slowly. It gulps it down and orders another.
Come on, use your brain. How are you a CEO and not using your brain?
Astronomer's board didn't wait around to see how the story played out. Within days, Andy had tendered his resignation, and the announcement went live for the world to see. The statement didn't name the Coldplay incident, but it didn't have to. It praised the company's culture, its standards, and its expectations for leaders. Between the lines, the message was clear. The standard had not been met. Kristen Kit? Silent. No statement, no interview, no cryptic Instagram story. Her absence from the conversation became a conversation in itself. Was she avoiding the media storm or deliberately stepping away from Andy's shadow? In scandals like this, silence can be louder than any denial.
This is the guy that is his head of HR. They were caught in an obvious embrace. And as soon as that cam went on them and they saw their image up on the thing, it was the worst cover up ever. She turned her back to the camera and he just he looked totally humiliated.
Then came the whispers. Andy Byron was allegedly considering a lawsuit against Chris Martin. The claim? That Martin's lighthearted remark on stage implied wrongdoing and damaged his reputation. But legal experts wasted no time pointing out the flaws. First problem, the setting. A Coldplay concert is a public event, and ticket terms usually include broad consent to filming. Second problem, defamation law isn't built for vague jokes. Martin didn't accuse Andy of anything specific, didn't name his company, and didn't act with what lawyers call actual malice. In fact, the only reason millions knew it was Andy was because the internet connected the dots afterward.
The company's board of directors accepted that resignation today, saying that it will begin the search for a replacement. In a statement released on the company's LinkedIn page, it says that Astronomer is committed to the values and culture that have guided us since our founding. Our leaders are expected to set the standard in both conduct and accountability, and recently that standard.
And then there's discovery, the part of any lawsuit where both sides get to demand evidence. For Andy, that could mean turning over private texts, emails, and internal company communications that might reveal more than he's prepared to share. Every PR expert knows, once you open that door, you can't close it again. Chris Martin's response to the whole legal chatter? A single Instagram comment under a trending post. All guests at the concerts are warned that filming is in progress. No lawyerly jargon, no aggressive tone. Just one sentence that, in the eyes of many, wiped out any privacy claim Andy could make. The public reaction flipped instantly. Fans started posting screenshots of their own Coldplay ticket disclaimers, pointing out the fine print. Reddit threads filled with venue photos showing warning signs about filming. The internet consensus was clear. You can't buy a VIP ticket, sit in full view of the cameras, and then claim you didn't expect to be filmed. Meanwhile, Kristen's silence was starting to look strategic. Employment law experts suggested she might, in theory, have more grounds to file a workplace claim against Andy than Andy would ever have against Chris Martin. But even that would be a tough fight, and so far, she hasn't made a move.
We've now learned that the technology company Astronomer has announced that its CEO, Andy Byron, seen here, as you saw, embracing a woman who is not his wife, has resigned from the company.
As the legal theories piled up, the internet did what it always does. It turned the moment into comedy. TikTok remixes, YouTube parodies, and memes flooded in. One viral clip layered Coldplay's Fix You over the footage of Andy's awkward freeze. Another turned the kiss cam into a fake courtroom skit with a guitar playing Chris Martin and a laughing judge. Here's the brutal truth. Even if Andy somehow won in court, those videos aren't going anywhere. They're reactions to a public event, and once they've been shared, downloaded, and re-uploaded, they live forever. Every time Andy's name trends, those clips resurface. Insiders say the lawsuit talk has frustrated even Andy's own legal advisors. One attorney allegedly called it a PR tantrum disguised as strategy. Others warned that by pursuing it, Andy was ensuring the scandal stayed alive for months, maybe years, instead of letting it fade. Crisis PR specialists started chiming in too. One said flat out, "If this case is filed, it will be studied in business schools as an example of what not to do when your scandal goes viral." Their advice? Say nothing, lay low, let the internet move on. But for Andy, and that advice seems to be going in one ear and out the other. Then there's the nuclear option, deposition. If Andy pushes forward, he could be forced to answer under oath whether there was any romantic relationship with Kristen. Say yes, and Chris Martin's joke becomes true on record. Say no, and risk evidence coming out that suggests otherwise. That's the kind of gamble no PR team can spin. The irony? This could have been over in days. A few memes, some awkward Monday meetings, and the internet would have moved on to the next headline. Instead, Andy's rumored legal threats have given the scandal a sequel. Chris Martin, for his part, has barely blinked. He's still selling out arenas, still engaging with fans, and hasn't uttered another public word about Andy Byron. That one Instagram comment was all he needed. A legal mic drop that resonated without raising his voice. Kristen remains a mystery. By avoiding public statements, she's protected herself from further scrutiny. She hasn't publicly defended Andy, but she hasn't criticized him either. In a way, she's playing the long game. For Andy, though, the long game may already be lost. He's out as CEO. His image in both tech and media has taken a hit that could be permanent. The Ethics CEO brand is gone, replaced by a frozen stadium screenshot and a legal plan most experts think is doomed. And this is where you have to ask, what's really driving this? Is it about clearing his name? Or is it about refusing to lose face? Because in the court of public opinion, the verdict may already be in. So, what do you think? Is Andy right to consider legal action? Or is this just ego in disguise? Drop your thoughts in the comments. Smash that like button if you think Chris Martin handled this perfectly, and subscribe for more deep dive, Hollywood-level scandals playing out in real life. Because here's the lesson. Viral moments are quick, but their shadow can be long. Sometimes the smartest move is to step back quietly. And sometimes, as Andy Byron is learning, stepping forward just keeps the spotlight burning.